I always thought the worst thing that could happen undercover was catching a bullet. Turns out it's locking eyes with the man you're supposed to destroy, and realizing he's not a man at all. Rain needles the docks like the sky's been holding a grudge all day. Containers crouch in rows, hulks of rust and graffiti. The smell of brine and diesel sits heavy on my tongue. My jacket soaks through in minutes, which would be more annoying if my heart wasn't trying to drum its way out. Stay close, Jax mutters, a shaved head under a cheap cap, the kind of guy who keeps a blade in his boot and jokes about it like he's the first man to invent metal. He's my ticket in tonight. I'm nobody. Just another runner in a gray hoodie, a face with good cheekbones and bad choices. Damien Cole, professional nobody. The badge sleeps 2 neighborhoods away, tucked beneath floorboards and lies. We move toward the stacked crates where a string of work lights buzz through the rain. Men in leather, men in nylon, men who think the world only makes sense when it's divided into ours and theirs. I keep my hands where everyone can see them, breath steady, eyes down. Understatement keeps you alive. Then the shifting crowd parts, and I see him. Lucian doesn't walk so much as arrive. Tall, coat black enough to trick the light, hair slicked back in a way that should be out of fashion and refuses to be. He looks like the city decided to dress itself for war, and borrowed a body for the occasion. His eyes sweep the line of buyers and sellers, conversations snap shut like knives returned to sheaths. Even the rain seems to fall quieter near him, a stupid observation my brain insists on making. Payment, he says, voice low, smooth, carrying. It isn't loud, but I feel it in my ribs. No substitutions. Jax nudges me. Don't stare. Was adjusting my soul, I murmur. It slipped. Jax huffs, almost laughs, then stops when Lucian's gaze skims our side of the operation. For a second, it touches me. The world narrows, then sharpens. My spine straightens like he's run a wire through it. This is ridiculous. I have a job, an identity, a heartbeat. I should not be thinking about the shape of a stranger's mouth. The product tonight is small and deadly. Microdrives with roots, ledgers, the kind of dirt that keeps a city dirty. I'm here to get close, to get inside. To get out with something that lets my handler pull a string and watch a big fish drown. That's the plan anyway. Plans are the first casualties of weather and men. 2 pallets, says a guy with a scar that looks like an exclamation point. Price changed. Not what we agreed. Lucian doesn't blink. Your memory is your problem. He gestures, palm up, to a woman beside him. Mara, if the intel is right. Sharp profile, rosary tattooed into the curve of her wrist like a joke only the saints would get. She opens a waterproof case, rows of neatly banded cash that smell like wet paper and compromise. Scar shakes his head. We want more. Lucian looks at him the way predators look at grass. No. The rain grows louder, or maybe the dock goes quieter. I feel electricity prickle under my skin. When something snaps, you can always tell. On good nights, you can get out of the way. Tonight's not a good night. A shout erupts from the shadows. Someone kills the nearest string of bulbs, half the dock drops into murk. Then the new sound comes. Jackals learning to sing. Automatic fire. The first bullets chew the metal siding 2 crates down from us, spark and scream. People duck. People run. People who promise not to panic meet their inner truths and panic anyway. Move. Jax shouts, pushing me toward the shelter of a container lane. I move. It's not heroism. It's staying alive long enough to make the heroics count. Men rush the light pool with scarves over their faces, weapons lifted. Syllables cut the rain. Names, curses, exhalations. Silas. Someone snarls and I file that away. Intel says Silas isn't ambitious. Lieutenant with the survival instincts of a moth at a bonfire. Tonight he's brought friends. I take cover behind steel that vibrates every time a round hits, counting the rhythm to keep my breathing in line. In, 2-3. Out, 2-3. Jax fires from a crouch. I fire a blank. My real rounds are words I'll say later into a clean line. Movement at the dock's lip. Lucian steps into the shooting like it's a bad song he's going to skip. Mara drags a wounded man backward, blood mixing with rain into pink rivers. A masked hitter charges Lucian with a blade. Lucian pivots, catches the man's wrist without looking, and the blade clatters to the boards. He doesn't break the arm. He just squeezes, and the man sinks, eyes wide, as if the pain rewired them. Okay. Not standard. Damien. Jax yells, too loud. And I know a split second before it happens that loud attracts lead. The impact hits like a sledgehammer to my side. Heat, then cold. A wet slackness. I hit the boards, which hit back. My breath exits in a sound I don't recognize as mine. "Stay down," Jack says, then says nothing else because the container beside us gives a long groan. The stacked cargo above shifts. Chains skid off hooks. In slow motion stupidity, 3 tons of steel decide to become a waterfall. I look up, wrong direction for survival, and see the container tilt, a gray sky framed by its edge. People scatter. I don't. My legs aren't on speaking terms with my brain. A shape breaks the dark. Lucian crosses the distance between us with a speed that breaks the math. He grips the container's lip as it plunges and stops it. Not completely, the corner still slams down inches from my hip with a clang that rattles my bones. But the rest hangs there, trembling, rain stepping off its surface in sheeted curtains. He looks down at me. Up close, his eyes aren't just dark, they're deep, like they've been taught to hold a horizon. "Breathe," he says, simple as a commandment. His hand slides to my ribs, presses. Pain spikes and then ebbs. A tide pulling back. The world's edges returning. It's not possible. He's not possible. "Who are you?" I whisper, because my filter bled out first. Later, he leans in, shoulder braced, muscles ridging his coat sleeves, and shoves the container back enough for Mara and another soldier to wedge a steel bar into place. The improvised lever groans but holds. "On your feet." Feet are a suggestion. I make one work. The other one negotiates. When I sway, Lucian's arm is suddenly around my back, impersonal and careful. Lightning skates across the bay, thunder tells a slow late story about it. We move. The lane between containers funnels wind and gunfire into something feral. Lucian steers me toward a door set into a warehouse wall, unmarked, low, the kind of door that pretends not to matter. He kicks it once, it opens like it was waiting. Inside, darkness and chemical dust. The warehouse smells like rubber and old plans. The door thuds shut behind us. The gunfire outside becomes the ocean, present, relentless. Muffled by distance and corrugation, Lucian's hand leaves my back, the cold pours in. He flips a small tactical light. A narrow cone cutting through stacked pallets, the carcass of a forklift, tarps like sleeping animals. I press my palm to my side. My fingers come away red but not catastrophic. The ache hums, more bruised than whole. My brain files it under explain later, which is a wide cabinet. "You shouldn't be bleeding that little," I say before I can stop myself. "You're welcome," he says, like we just traded umbrellas. I blink. "You did something. Also later?" He steps closer, gaze scanning my face. "Not hunting for tells. Accounting for them. Can you walk without falling?" "I prefer not falling, it's a hobby." One corner of his mouth moves. It would be a smile on a more generous man. He reaches for my hood, pulls it up to shadow my features. Footsteps slam past the exterior wall. Voices. Silas shouting for someone to sweep the warehouses. Lucian goes still, the way heat goes still before a stove clicks on. We are 3 strides from the door, when the second door bangs open. Across the warehouse, spilling in a wedge of flashlight and rain. 2 of Silas's men stumble inside, soaking and mean, scanning. Lucian's fingers catch my wrist. "Come here," he murmurs, and pulls me into the thin space between a pallet tower and the wall, deeper shadow within shadow. We are too close. My shoulder is against his chest, the rise and fall of his breath measured and deliberate. His heat bleeds through the wet layers, a traitor comfort. Footsteps and light swing our way. One beam stutters across the floor, climbs the pallet edges like a curious insect. My pulse flares so loud it exists outside me. Silas said, "Check everything," one man mutters, the light wobbling. He also said, "Don't get shot," the other answers. "You going to argue with ghosts now? Whole place is cursed." The beam climbs higher. "It's going to find us." I taste metal. Lucian lowers his head, and for a second I think he's going to whisper. He doesn't. He kisses me. Not a question. Not a performance for us. A performance for them. The angle hides our faces from the light, makes us 2 silhouettes blurred into one long shadow. His hand lifts, fingers splayed against the back of my neck, possessive. Sure, the kind of grip that tells a watching world to mind its business. My mouth parts in shock and survival. The scent of him is rain warmed on stone. "Ugh," the guard says, a sound like stepping in something. The light wavers, skitters away. Get a room. Not here. The other agrees. I'm not dying because two idiots can't buy a motel. Their footsteps retreat to the door. The light falls away. The warehouse breathes again. Lucian doesn't move at first. The press of him is steady, certain, like he's delaying for reasons that have nothing to do with danger and everything to do with control. When he lets me go, it's seamless. He's already a pace away, like the moment belongs to a ledger that got balanced. My tongue finds words it dropped. So, that was effective, he says. Also, effective, he repeats. But there's heat at the edge of it now, the idea of a smile. You were convincing. I was surprised, I admit, because honesty is easier to carry when you've already lost some blood. Outside, the storm flattens into steady rain. Inside, the silence develops furniture. I look at him in the beam of his light. The motes dance between us like little planets stuck in a gravity well. You should leave the docks, he says. Whatever you came for tonight won't be where you expect it. I came for a paycheck. You came for a choice. He tilts his head, considering. Try not to make the easy one. Easy and I don't talk anymore, I say. We had a falling out. He nods, satisfied with that in some inscrutable way. From his coat, he pulls a small card sealed in plastic. No name, just a sigil inked in dark red that glints when the light hits it, a circle with lines like a compass that never points north. He slides it into my palm. It warms against my skin, a heat that isn't heat. If you need to be found, he says, hold it and think of the word you won't say out loud. I don't keep secrets, I lie. I don't keep promises, he says. And somehow it sounds like one. He moves to the side door, listens, then eases it open an inch. The rain greets us like an old friend someone owes money. He steps into it, a cutout shape swallowed by the night. The last thing I see is the line of his throat when he tilts his head to listen. As if the storm speaks a language that tells him where to set his feet. Who are you? I ask, because the question has been walking circles in my mouth since the container didn't crush me. He looks back, a silhouette against the lightning. Not who, he says. What? The door shuts. I breathe. My side aches, my hand tightens around the card, until the sigil's edges print into my skin. Outside, gunfire flickers and fades, the city changing channels. I sink against the pallet, laugh once, soundless and a little wild. Undercover is a job with a timer and a trap door, and I just handed someone else the switch. I came here to unmask a kingpin. I'm standing in the dark holding proof that the king wears horns. The club used to pulse with bass and neon. Now it breathes in shadows and cigarette smoke. Its heart replaced by a long oak table scarred by years of bottles and fists. The chandeliers hang like tired skeletons above us, cracked mirrors reflecting nothing useful. Rain still drips somewhere inside. Through a broken skylight, it patters on the warped stage where dancers once spun. This is Lucian's throne room. I stand with the others, lieutenants, soldiers, the kind of men who keep their backs to walls and their knives within reach. Nobody slouches. Not because of respect, not exactly. It's the way the air bends around him when he takes his seat at the table, coat spreading like wings. He doesn't slam his fist or raise his voice. He doesn't need to. A man is dragged forward, bleeding lip, wrists bound with duct tape. He's shoved to his knees before Lucian. I know his type, low-level courier. Probably thought he could skim off the top and no one would notice. Speak, Lucian says. The courier stammers, tries to shape excuses. The words fall apart under Lucian's stare. You broke a vow, Lucian says, calm, deliberate. And here, vows weigh more than money. The man shakes his head. It was a mistake, I swear. You swore once already. Lucian's voice sharpens, not louder, but heavier. He gestures and Mara steps forward, carrying a small iron brand etched with sigils. It smolders though no fire feeds it. I feel the temperature in the room dip. Men shift their feet, glance at the door, but no one leaves. Lucian rises, moves closer, every step precise. He doesn't strike, doesn't shout. He takes the man's chin, forcing him to meet those abyss-dark eyes. Do you know what happens when you treat your word like garbage? The man sobs. Please. Lucian presses 2 fingers to the courier's forehead. The sigils on the brand flare, red lines chasing themselves across metal. The courier screams once, body convulsing, then collapses. Alive. Shaking. Marked. Lucian lets go. He keeps his life. He loses his right to speak for us. The soldiers nod, murmurs rippling. Fear, yes. But also order. The streets run on fear anyway. Lucian just makes it efficient. I should hate it. I should catalog it as evidence, a neat line in my report. But standing there, I can't deny the weight in the room. It feels less like tyranny, and more like gravity, inevitable, unarguable. Later, outside, the streets sing again. Engines snarl, tires spit rainwater into arcs of spray. I straddle the back of a bike, helmet jammed on, arms locked awkwardly around Jax's waist as we ride behind Lucian's crew. Neon signs smear across the wet pavement, like someone dragged a paintbrush through fire. The gang doesn't ride for fun, they ride to be seen. To remind every corner dealer and petty hustler that the night has rules now, and Lucian is the one who wrote them. A smaller crew blocks the intersection. Kids, really. Baseball bats, cheap pistols, nerves running faster than their blood. They shout, trying to posture. The rain turns their bravado into mud. Lucian slows his bike, rolls forward alone, calm as if he's about to ask for directions. The crew's leader waves his pistol, voice cracking. This is our street now. Lucian doesn't flinch. He tilts his head, rain sliding off the sharp line of his jaw. Your street? Yes, the kid barks, but his hand shakes. Lucian lifts a finger, gestures behind him. Instantly, his riders rev their engines in unison. The sound is thunder, a wall of noise that makes the windows tremble. The kid stumbles back, pistol lowering. Lucian's words cut through the roar. My word weighs more than your gun. Remember that. The rival crew scatters, sneakers slapping against puddles, leaving only their bats clattering on the asphalt. Lucian signals once, and his riders peel away into the city, trails of exhaust rising like banners. I hold on, the vibration of the engine rattling through my bones. The rain stings, but my chest burns hotter. I'm supposed to be counting crimes, building a case. Instead, I'm watching the way the streets bend for him, like iron filings to a magnet. And the dangerous truth? Part of me is bending too. The alley reeks of fried oil and wet cardboard, a side street where neon signs hum half-dead and shadows never ask questions. Perfect place to meet a man who's supposed to be my partner, but now feels more like a liability wrapped in a badge. Noah's already waiting, hood up, hands jammed into his pockets. He used to look sharp, the kind of cop who ironed his shirts and polished his shoes even when nobody asked him to. Tonight, he just looks tired. Tired and guilty. You've been quiet, he says, glancing over my shoulder before his eyes land on me. Too quiet. I pull a flash drive from my jacket, slick with condensation. This is what you wanted. Shipment routes, cash ledgers, a couple of names. Enough to start tying Lucian's empire into a noose. Noah takes it, tucks it away fast, like he's afraid someone will snatch it. His jaw works. You're sure they don't suspect? They suspect everything, I say, which isn't a lie. But I'm still breathing. He studies me a little too long, then shakes his head. Damien, you've got that look. The one you get when you're already in too deep. Already in too deep? Buddy. The water closed over my head the night he kissed me just to hide me from a flashlight. Relax, I tell him, forcing a smirk. I know which side I'm on. I don't add that I'm not sure that's true anymore. Later that night, Lucian finds me on the balcony of the club. The city stretches below. Glittering windows, restless streets, the kind of view that makes you forget how many people bled to keep it. He leans beside me, close enough that the fabric of his coat brushes my sleeve. You've been restless, he says. Your thoughts make too much noise. I stiffen. You reading minds now? No. His eyes cut to mine, sharp as broken glass. But you carry yourself like a man with two masters, not just a thief, not just a liar. You wear another's command like a second skin. Another's seal. The word lands heavier than the rain still dripping off the roof. Seal. Mark. Peccatum. Whatever name you give it, it means he's closer to the truth than I can afford. You don't know me, I say, light, casual, like we're two men trading insults in a bar. Lucian tilts his head. Studying me the way predators study a sound in the dark. No. But I will. The air between us hums, dangerous. My pulse trips over itself, but I hold his gaze. I can't blink first. Meanwhile, across town, Noah sits in a sterile office, blinds drawn tight. Commissioner Vale looms behind his desk, a man carved from ambition and cigarettes. His voice is almost gentle when he says, Cole's getting close. Yes, sir, Noah mutters. Closer than I expected. Vale exhales smoke. Ash trembling on the lip of his cigar. He thinks he's using Lucian, he doesn't realize Lucian's using him. Either way, he's expendable. Noah flinches. Expendable? The commissioner leans forward, eyes narrowing. He's a pawn. If he stops moving the way I want, take him off the board. Silence stretches. Noah nods once, jaw tight. The deal is sealed without blood, but the stench of betrayal is stronger than smoke. By the time I leave the club, the words still echo in my head. Lucian's suspicion, Noah's warning look, my own damn heartbeat betraying me every time I think about both of them. I thought I was undercover in a gang war. Turns out I'm caught between a demon who sees too much, and a police force that's already decided how and when to cut my throat. And the ugliest part? I don't know which side I trust less. The docs never sleep. They just change languages. Daytime commerce into nighttime crime. Tonight, the warehouses groan with shifting metal, and the low whine of forklifts. Salt air sticks to my skin. I keep one hand near my holster, the other in my pocket like I'm just another errand boy on Lucian's leash. But my partner isn't here to watch my back. Noah is already busy selling it. I don't see him when it happens, but I feel it. An itch between my shoulders, the weight of betrayal hanging just before the blow. Later I'll learn he made a call, handed over the location of Lucian's meet to a rival crew. In the moment, all I know is this: the night shatters. The first burst of automatic fire tears through a stack of pallets, splinters spraying like shrapnel. Men drop, shouting. Someone yells ambush, as if the word will save them. Lucian moves instantly, his coat flaring as he drags Mara behind a crate. His eyes flash, catching the light like obsidian in fire. I should run the other way, find cover, let the mission right itself. Instead, my body betrays me the same way Noah betrayed me. I lunge toward Lucian, gun out, firing at shadows. The enemy brought teeth tonight. Machine guns rattle, pinning us down. A fuel truck parked near the dock explodes in a column of fire, the shockwave hammering my chest. The world becomes heat and thunder. I shove Lucian aside just as a round bites into my shoulder. Pain rips down my arm, hot and sharp, then strangely cold. I hit the ground hard, the rain hissing as flames lick the sky. Lucian is suddenly there, kneeling, his hand pressed flat against my chest. Not tender. Desperate. His lips move, words older than the docks, older than the city. The air trembles. The pain dulls. My heartbeat stumbles then steadies. But, I see it. The glow beneath his shirt, red burning lines that crawl like living veins across his skin. A sigil etched into him, pulsing as if it's eating his strength to feed me. He flinches, jaw tightening, and when his hand lifts, I glimpse the mark on his chest. A scar shaped like a circle broken in two, raw and ragged as if carved by a blade of fire. My breath sticks. What is that? Lucian's eyes darken. A seal, the price of power. And it's not your concern. Not my. You just. The words choke in my throat. I want to demand answers, to demand everything. But the fire reflects in his eyes, and for once he looks less like an untouchable monster, and more like a man carrying chains no one else can see. Gunfire echoes closer. He pulls me up with a force that should hurt but steadies instead. We stagger through smoke and sparks until Mara rallies the crew, driving the attackers back into the night. The ambush collapses as quickly as it started, leaving silence broken only by the roar of the fire. When we finally duck into the skeleton of a warehouse, I sag against the wall, shoulder throbbing. Lucian stands over me, chest rising fast, that seal still faintly glowing under his shirt. He looks carved down, edges rougher, as if the night carved away a piece of him. You could have left me there, I rasp. Lucian meets my eyes, rain dripping from his hair, jaw set. You could have sold me too. I shake my head, lips twisted into something between a laugh and a grimace. Guess we're both terrible at easy choices. He studies me, silence stretching. Then says the words that knot themselves into my bones. You could have betrayed me. But you stayed. And for the first time I realize he isn't just measuring my loyalty. He's offering his. The office sits on the top floor of a tower that pierces the night like a blade. Glass on every side, steel bones holding it aloft. From here, the city is a living map, streets lit like veins, neon arteries pumping restless light. The kind of view that makes men think they're gods. Lucian stands at the head of a long table, his reflection doubled in the windows. Mara at his side, lieutenants lined up like chess pieces. I linger near the edge, another pawn pretending not to notice the weight of the board. It should be just another council. Reports, roots, numbers that hide blood behind them, but the tension is wrong tonight. Too taut, like a violin string wound until it's ready to snap. The doors slam open. Gunfire follows. Chaos erupts before anyone breathes. 2 of Lucian's men crumple in the hail of bullets, blood painting the polished floor. The intruders move fast, faces masked, weapons steady. Inside help had to open the way. "Silas!" Someone shouts, and the name is both curse and confirmation. Lucian reacts like a storm, dragging the table into a shield position, his coat flaring as he fires back. The glass shudders with every shot, fragments sprinkling the floor like ice. I dive behind a column, firing in short bursts, covering Mara as she chants under her breath, sigils sparking faintly on the walls. The ambush lasts minutes, but feels like an hour. Then, it's over. Smoke. Blood. 2 men dead, bodies still. The traitors fled. Lucian grips the back of a chair, knuckles white, chest heaving. For a second, he looks human. Drained. And Mara seizes it. This began the moment he arrived. She spits, her voice slicing across the room. She points at me, fury twisting her face. "Since he appeared, you've been weaker, distracted. You let sentiment blind you, and now your people pay the price." Eyes turn. Soldiers shift, murmurs rising. I feel the burn of their stares like crosshairs. Lucian's head snaps toward her. His voice is thunder, low but lethal. "Enough." "He divides you," Mara presses, unwavering. "I see it. They all see it. If he were anyone else, you'd have gutted him already." The silence that follows is jagged. My pulse hammers. For one wild moment I almost want Lucian to agree, to tear away the fragile thread that ties me here, let me run back to my badge and my lies. Instead, Lucian slams his palm flat on the glass table. Cracks spiderweb out under his hand. His voice cuts through the smoke. "Damien stays. Question me again, and you'll answer for it with more than words." The room stills. No one moves. Even Mara drops her gaze, though her lips tremble with swallowed rage. But when Lucian turns away, I see it. Just a flicker. The doubt. His shoulders heavy, his eyes shadowed, his breath uneven. He's holding himself together with willpower and fury, nothing else. And I, God help me, I feel guilt coil in my gut. Because Mara isn't wrong. Since I walked into his world, his edges have frayed. His men bleed for it. And he defends me anyway. I tell myself I should leave. That my mission demands it. That staying only makes me complicit. But I don't move. I stay rooted to the spot, watching the cracks in the glass table glitter under the lights, knowing full well I've just chosen to be part of his rules instead of my own. For the first time the lie I carry burns heavier than the bullet wound in my shoulder. The market isn't on any map. You get there by following smells: burnt sage, rusted iron, candle wax melted into stone. Beneath the city, the tunnels open into caverns lined with stalls, no neon, no signs, just relics laid out on velvet cloths, trinkets humming with a life that doesn't belong to them. People whisper instead of speak. Coins clink, promises trade hands heavier than gold. I move with Lucian through the crowd, the scrape of boots echoing over dripping walls. His presence makes the air bend. No one meets his eyes. At the far end, a merchant waits. Old, skin thin as parchment, eyes clouded but sharp. His table holds a single display, a dagger in a glass case. Its blade isn't metal so much as absence, a shimmer that makes my vision ache. Lucian stiffens. Mara murmurs a curse. The merchant taps the glass. "The betrayer's blade," he croaks. "Forged in the old wars, harmless in any hand. Unless turned by one the demon trusts." I don't breathe. The words slam into me like a gunshot. Unless turned by one the demon trusts. Lucian's jaw tightens, unreadable. He doesn't look at me, but he doesn't have to. My stomach knots. I see it all suddenly: Commissioner Vale's smirk, Noah's hesitation, the way orders keep pushing me deeper into Lucian's shadow. They don't want me to bring back evidence. They want me to bring back a corpse. I'm the knife. My throat burns, but I manage to keep my voice casual. "Charming story. How many fairy tales do you sell for a living?" The merchant chuckles. A dry rasp. "Fairy tales don't bleed when you cut with them." Lucian ends it with a glance, a flick of his coat as he turns away. We're done here. But I can't shake it. Every step out of that cavern, the weight of the blade follows me. Later, back in the club's upper rooms, I sit with the city sprawling beneath us, lights jittering across glass. Lucian stands at the window, framed like a judgment. They'll use me, I say quietly. He doesn't turn. Everyone uses everyone. That's how the world holds. No. I force the words out, my chest tight. Vale wants me to be the one. He'll try to make me finish you. With that blade. Now Lucian turns. The room shrinks to his gaze. And will you? The silence is a wire stretched between us, ready to snap. I could lie. I could say I'd never. But we both know trust doesn't live in words. Instead, I step closer. Pulse hammering. I'll let them think I will. I'll let Vale and Silas think I'm their good little pawn. Then we spring the trap. His brow lifts, curiosity flickering like a spark. You would risk being the blade yourself? I swallow. You don't know what trust is until you give it away completely. His expression softens, only a fraction. But it's enough to leave me raw. He steps forward, close enough that the heat of him cuts the chill from the window glass. His hand hovers near mine, not touching but burning all the same. Then we play it your way, he says, voice low. Together. Even if it costs everything. I nod, the weight of the choice crushing and freeing at once. Together. For the first time I'm not sure if I'm still undercover, or if I've been claimed. And maybe, for the first time, I don't care. The storm breaks over the city like it's been waiting for us. Lightning slices the sky, thunder follows with a growl that rattles the bones of the bridge. The water below churns, black and violent. Perfect place for a showdown. Commissioner Vale waits in the middle, flanked by armed men who already look uneasy under the storm's fury. Silas hovers at his side, smug, hungry, certain tonight will be his coronation. And me, Damien Cole, badge buried soaked to the skin, standing between the man who raised me in the force and the demon who's somehow become the only one I trust. Vale's voice cuts through the rain. Bring him forward. Do it, Cole. Mara and the others hold back, tension wound like a spring. Lucian stands calm, his eyes two storms answering the one above. I feel the weight of the dagger inside my coat, the betrayer's blade, humming like a curse. You want me to kill him, I say flatly. Vale smiles, smoke curling from his cigar despite the rain. Not want. Expect. You've served your purpose, Damien. End him, and you'll walk away with a commendation, a clean record, and your life. Lucian tilts his head toward me, unreadable. He's not pleading. He's staring me. I take the blade out slowly. Lightning flares, etching the shimmer of the weapon into every reflection. Everyone holds their breath. My heart is a war drum. Then Silas lunges. He sees his chance, grabs my wrist, shoves the blade toward Lucian, intending to be the one who delivers the final betrayal. But the blade knows truth. The moment Silas drives it forward, it flares white hot. His eyes widen. His body arches as the weapon turns on him, consuming from within. He screams once, then collapses, lifeless, the echo swallowed by thunder. The soldiers flinch. Fear ripples. Vale's cigar drops from his lips. Mara steps forward, voice ringing, the blade claims only traitors. And Silas betrayed us all. Chaos fractures Vale's mask. He reaches for his coat pocket but I'm faster, my recorder already running. His voice plays back in tinny clarity, Cole's a pawn. If he stops moving the way I want, take him off the board. Along with files we stole from his office, it's enough. The evidence is laid bare under stormlight. Noah staggers forward, pale, rain dripping from his hair. I'll testify, he chokes out. Everything, Vale, the money, the orders, just leave my family out of this. His shoulders slump like a man finally free of a weight he carried too long. Armed men look at each other, then lower their weapons. Vale curses, but the night has already decided. I stand there, blade still humming in my hand, and I make my choice. Not for Vale, not for the badge. For me. I turn toward the cameras waiting at the end of the bridge. Reporters Vale invited to record his triumph. My voice shakes, but not from fear. The system is rotten, I tell them. It feeds on loyalty and spits out bones. But this city was cleaner under the rule of the man you call a monster than it ever was under the men in suits. You want the truth? The demon kept his word. The rest of them never did. Flashbulbs explode. Questions erupt. I drop the blade onto the wet concrete and walk back to Lucian. He watches me like he's measuring every step. When I reach him, he says quietly, "You just chose exile from one world. Then I guess I'll need another." I smirk, though my chest feels like it might split. Got room in yours? For the first time he smiles, small, dangerous, real. Always. Dawn finds us on a rooftop, the storm washed clean into soft pink skies. The city stretches below, battered but alive. I sit on the ledge, nursing a paper cup of bitter coffee. Lucian stands beside me, coat gone, shirt open at the throat, the faint scar of his seal catching the sunrise. You make terrible coffee, he says. I shrug. It's either this or trust you not to poison me. He takes the cup from my hand, drinks, grimaces. Poison would taste better. We laugh, the sound raw, unpolished but real. For the first time in too long, I'm not a pawn, not a badge, not a mask. Just Damien Cole. And beside me, not a kingpin, not a demon, not a myth, just Lucian. Together, not because we have to, but because we chose to.